Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Content Marketing Crusaders. This is my interview show where I get to sit down with some of the best content marketing and content creation experts out there and really extract all the knowledge from them so that you guys can just thrive in that platform. So be sure, guys, if you are new to the show and you've never heard us before, hit the subscribe button to be kept up to date with all the latest episodes of this Content Marketing Crusaders podcast. So today's guest is an absolute legend. I'm super excited to have him on. His name is David Lindgren, and David is a content creator. Okay, he's a content creator who is I found his stuff through a mutual friend of ours called Rob Balasabas, who's been on the show. And I was talking to David off air about this, saying that I went onto his YouTube channel and found just the best edited short tutorial video I've ever probably seen. And I realized I was just chatting to him off air about this and thought, why am I talking to you off air when we should talk about this on air? Because honestly, this guy's YouTube channel is super practical, super useful. And any one of you, which let's be honest, is all you guys out here as content creators, should be listening and watching this, because it's honestly, the value isn't crazy. So check it out in the description. The links are all there before. We're going to run the intro and bring him on. Let's do it. Hello, David. Welcome to the show. I'm having a bit of internet issues. I said there's a storm here, and I was like, what is going on? But please bear with. So how are you anyway, mate? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. Thank you, Ash, for having me. I'm really excited to be here. This is a topic that I can talk a lot about. So yeah,
I'm super.
And thanks for the nice introduction as well.
Well, you're very welcome, mate. I'm super pumped to have you on myself. Like, I think you know, I like I said at the beginning of the introduction, you really did. Your content really stuck out to me. The quality of your content on your YouTube channel and your tutorials is incredible, and it really is.
Thank you.
But it really is. I think, you know, credit where credit's due, and I'd never seen someone do such a short video in such a incredible way. And obviously, I'm sure we'll talk about that in this episode. But before we go any further, David, I wanted to let's just for my audience, for people watching this, people who've never met you before, could you tell us a little bit about you? So, who is David? What do you do? Why do you do it? And how did you get into it?
Yeah, so I'm from Sweden. I'm a freelancing content creator. So I've been working with video for the last 5 years, I think it is. It's always been an interest of mine, but I'm also a hockey player. So that has been the number one priority in my life until, 5 years back, maybe, when I got an internship as a video editor. And then that led into me getting a job as a video editor, and from there it's just been like trial and error to learn and to grow, and started freelancing 2 years ago now. So
how have you found that? How have you found the freelancing? How's that been going?
It's been great. I've always been used to being in an office and working, and I never saw myself as a freelancer because I was always a little bit frightened of, the sales part of it, because I never seen myself as a salesperson. I've been more like a marketing person. So I think it's really interesting to be in this show, because this is exactly what I'm interested in, because I like to, provide value and inspire other people and sharing the things that I've learned. But I'm pretty bad at, convincing people to buy stuff. So I'm just trying to, publish a lot of content, get noticed in a lot of places. Hopefully people see that I do good things and then they contact me. So that's kind of my idea.
I love that. No, that's a really good idea though, David, because, and I know that me and you I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan, and I looked at your channel and it has stuff there. And I myself, I have a sales background. I had my own sales business, but I am a big fan of the idea of creating enough content that you don't have to sell. The idea that people come to you because you are the authority and they like you, they know you, they trust you. So as someone who, you say you're not a natural salesperson, and that's fine because most people are not. how have you found that as a freelancer now? How are you finding that approach you just said about creating content, a lot of content? Is that really starting to bear fruit for you now? Are you noticing that you can say to clients as a freelancer, look, go and have a look at what I do, come back to me? Is it really working?
Yeah. I mean, when I started as a video editor a couple of years back, I already then started to build my brand and started to grow my social media accounts, and um, a lot of that thanks to Gary Vaynerchuk when I discovered him, and the way, what he preaches about building your personal brand, and that's something that's you can always take with you no matter what you do, or if you quit your job and go to another job or something. Like, it's basically like your reputation. And so I was spending like a lot of time to build that up for a couple of years. So when I um, took the step into like the freelance world, then I actually had a couple of people already reaching out to me because they have seen the things that I've published. So I've kind of built up that, that reach and those contacts. So I didn't actually have to work so much with the sales part when I started freelancing. And then I had like some, recurring clients, which also helped, of course, that you don't need to go out and chase new clients all the time. So it's actually been working like surprisingly well. And also now during, this pandemic, that has actually helped me because, people have no other choice than using video more and working more remote, and people are opening up more for communicating with video. So like, I have a client, for example, that I edit webinars for. So I haven't even met them. So they send their webinars and then they get that file and they send it over to me. I put on like an intro and outro, and then I cut out a part for LinkedIn, and then I send it back to them. So that's just one example of like how you can work with video for someone without even meeting them. So
I love it.
yeah, it's been going
I
well.
couldn't. That's amazing to hear as well, David, because I couldn't agree with you more or echo more. That how I got into content marketing myself, and my listeners and audience will know this, but just a little bit about for you is that and because we have a kindred connection, we're here with Gary V, and it was this thing of I worked in a sales environment and I stumbled across his podcast, and he kept saying and preaching effectively, if you create content, people will come. Now it might take time, but eventually they'll come. And I didn't believe him for a while, and then I started to believe him, and then I started making content, and nothing happened, which might be the same. Nothing happened, and I was like, okay. And then a couple of years later, all of a sudden, it did happen. And then when I needed it, a bit like you being freelancer, when I went self-employed as a consultant for marketing and coaching and personal branding, all of a sudden, that bank balance of content that I had listened to Gary Vee and had done what he'd said, and when everyone else told me he was wrong and he was an idiot and he should look at like I carried on going, no, he's got to be. And there was a point where I was thinking, maybe he's wrong, maybe he is wrong, maybe I've got this wrong, and then it all paid off. And it didn't pay off like I didn't become a millionaire or anything like that, but it all of a sudden, as you said, people came, and I was like, oh, if that's just now, what could this be? Because this only multiplies, doesn't the effect? What I love about content, that's the effect of content, is that it multiplies over and over again. And so videos that you put out 2 years ago will still be making work for you in 4 years' time if you put them in the right places, at the smart places. And you become like I heard Sean Cannell do something on his Think Media podcast saying it's like a Star Wars clone army, where you start to just have so much content that it's impossible not to find you. So I love and completely respect that way of thinking. So where are you at? I saw a vlog with yours with the Gary V. Where are you at with Gary V now, the way he approaches things? How do you feel about that, him as a person? Interestingly, I'm asking this question now because now that you are very much a full-time content creator, are you still aligned with what Gary V talks, or are you thinking some of that's true, some of it probably is not the best? What's your thoughts?
Yeah. Actually, to tell a little story, like how everything started, because I I saw some episodes of his vlog, but it wasn't because I like wanted to see his content, but it was because the internship that I had as a video editor, the CEO at that company, he just started the vlog, and he wanted it to be similar to Daily V. And he wanted me to look at one of those episodes to just like see how they are doing, and I could learn from D-Rock that's filming it, how he's documenting his days. So that's kind of how it started. And then the more I watched those episodes just to learn like how to document someone's day, the more I also of course got to know Gary and everything that he does and what he stands for and everything. So I continued to watch it. I think I watched like 400 episodes of his vlog. So yeah, I recognize a lot of the content that he's publishing. Like, oh, that's from that clip, or that's from that uh, video that he published. So, but I would say I still really agree with like the values and the messages that he's sharing. To have patience in what you're doing, try different things, and you like if you have a hard time choosing between what direction to go, like don't overthink it, just pick one and go. And like he says also, like doing the right thing is always the right thing, because in marketing it's always that challenge of it's not as hard, it's not as easy to measure as sales, where you can see exactly how much money it's coming in, but with marketing maybe you see a more long-term result from it. So a really important thing is to have patience in it, and to kind of learn as you go. And if you're trying different things and it's not working, maybe it's not the Facebook ads, for example, that's not working. Maybe it's the way that you are um, uh, the way that you are forming the video for the ad, or like what target audience are you like showing this to and stuff. So it's just constant adjustments. So I think that's something that's very important when it comes to marketing. It's hard to track, but it will always lead to good things if you talk about things in your niche and spread knowledge about it.
Could not agree more with that statement. And it's that's the thing I really like. I still am a big, so it's funny with my feeling of Gary V was I found him, I absolutely fell in love with what he did. I'd never met anyone who talked the what, like who looked at things the way that it was like he was speaking to me, even though he wasn't. It was like, oh my gosh, I get this.
Oh.
And then I found that as I started to do more of it, I started to become, I started to overthink it. I started to become like one of the marketing guys who is like, oh no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. You can't do that. And actually, I'm really honest, I'm coming full circle back round. In the last couple of months, I've been like, he's right. He's right on everything. And I mean that in like a content thing as well. Like the more I've analyzed lots of profiles on lots of platforms, there's no such thing as too much content. And at the beginning, that's where I fell down with him, is everyone was like, no, 1 a week, 2 a week, 4 a week. And I actually believe that if you can do 1, then you should be trying to do 2 a day. And if you can do 2 a day, you should try to do 3. Like, and he's the only person who talks about that. And so I'm a big believer of his idea of like, if you think you're doing enough, you're not doing enough. And I still believe that now. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
So, David, let's talk a bit about, I know we spoke about this in the thing, but let's talk a bit about YouTube growth. Let's talk about your own YouTube growth and how have you found YouTube as a creator. Talk me through your own journey of YouTube. How long have you been on it? What's kind of been the things you've learned from it?
Yeah, when people ask me when I started my YouTube channel, it's always hard to answer that, because I think the channel was created in 2012 or something. But
When did
I
you
think
actually properly do it. That's what I mean. Because I know what you mean. Like, people go, I've had the channel for 5 years, but I've only been when did you decide I'm going to be a YouTuber? Let's put that day. Like,
Yeah.
this is the day that I'm going to do it.
I think I would say that's probably 3 years back. So what's that, 2018? Because that's when I published the first vlog episode, and actually the first video where I'm in front of the camera instead of behind it. I was uploading some like tutorials and stuff, just screen recordings on my computer with the inbuilt microphone on the computer.
So
like
a bit
some
of
of those,
Camtasia, is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And some of those videos has like 80,000 views or something right now, and I'm like, I didn't even have an external microphone, I didn't even have a camera, I just did a quick screen recording, but I just tried to focus on solving a problem. And that's kind of what got me motivated to continue, because like, oh, maybe I don't have to have great gear. Maybe if I focus on the content value that Gary talks a lot about, that's more important than the production value. And if you do that, then that, like, every video that you upload that has some kind of content value can increase your reach, and that will increase your subscribers over time. And like, then you can always upgrade as you go. And that's kind of my idea behind the vlog also, that I started. It's 3 years back now, when I wanted to do the first episode was just filmed with my phone. And then I said, like, I'm just gonna put this out there. I'm gonna start doing vlog episodes every week now. I think the next week I actually bought a camera, and then I tried to stick to it. And like some weeks it was like the vlog episode was like one clip, a 1 minute clip or something, like really short. But then I started spending more and more time on those, so now it's like maybe one video every 2 months or something. But I'm still publishing the tutorials. So, and I think the reason why I'm doing so much tutorials is I have like a very defined process for that. And that's something that I didn't really think about from the start, but it really makes a big difference if you write down like exactly the steps you go through to create a video, the things you need to prepare before, the like keyword research, bulk producing content so you can record a bunch of tutorials the same day. And just having like that defined process has helped me to put that into my calendar and making sure I always get a video up. And then I've kind of had the vlog episodes as like side project where I don't have a specific deadline for it. It's more like, okay, this is something I can spend time on to do it just the way I want, no matter if it takes 1 week or if it takes 2 months. So I'm still in the middle between like, should I be the person who puts out a lot of content, or should I put out like not so much content but more produced content? But then
How do
at
you
the
feel
same
about that?
time,
What's in your just to quickly nail down on that a little bit, because I
yeah.
love that conversation, and it's an interesting one for me because I've battled with that in my head for about 6 months, and I know which one I've decided. But so in your mind, you're saying that whether you want to be the guy that puts a lot of content or the really high quality produced content, what's going on in your head with that? What are you thinking? What are the pros and cons in your mind? What is your head going with that?
Yeah, I think like for YouTube and for growing the channel itself, I think it's good to put out a lot of content, because you're just giving yourself more opportunities to grow your channel with every piece of content that you put out. And I also kind of see it as push-ups. Like the more you do it, the stronger you get. And I think I learn more by putting out a video every week for a year than if I do 12 videos, like one every month. But I also, it's like this pride that you have in your work, that I know that I can do this better. Am I still going to upload this just to like just because it's good to the channel, or because it's good to YouTube, or do I want to make it as good as I know I can make it? So it's always like a battle there. How much
It's an
time I should
interesting
put into it.
It's an interesting point. The reason why I ask you that is this is a
Mm,
battle that I think everybody has. And I actually had Nick Nimmin on the show, and I
mm,
was asking him this thing, and he was saying that he'd got to a point ages ago now, but he said I got to a point where he was creating the best video he possibly could make.
mm,
He said there's a tipping point where he was like, I was making this video and it was taking, I'm making this bit up because I can't remember the show exactly because it's a long time ago since I spoke to him. But he was like, it's taking me like 10 hours to make this video, whatever,
mm,
to make this one video. And he was like, I don't know, 20 hours, whatever. It was for a lot of time. And he said, and that's got all the
mm,
B-roll, it's got everything on it, all the best practices. He said, but he did a little test over like a 6-month period where he removed things. So he's like,
mhm,
okay, I'm going to stop putting that on all the time because that takes me an extra hour. So I'm going to remove that. And then
mm,
he watched his analytics, no effect, nothing changed. And he was like, and he said he just kept removing things. It was like, remove the B-roll. He doesn't do much B-roll. If you
yeah,
look at this stuff now, he doesn't any really. He used to do loads. He was like, remove
mm,
the B-roll, remove the intro. And he said, and what I realized was it was about 2.5, 3 hours of editing was that sweet spot. And he said, and
mm,
in that case, I was spending 10 to 12 hours making a video, whereas
mm,
really 2 to 3 hours that I actually needed to spend. And so I think that, because that's the issue that I find with content is
mm,
what your level of quality will be very different to an
yeah.
audience's level of quality.
Yeah, and it's also like a matter of taste, I think. Like I can think that a video that I do is better to do in a certain way, but my audience might think it's better to do in another way. So like the quality can be subjective as well. And I
Yeah,
think as long as you have like a strong message, and like the message in your video is good, then I don't think it matters that much if you have an extra sound effect or more B-roll or something. But what I'm trying to think of when I edit the videos, just to keep people interested in the video and watch through it, is I try to spend a lot of time at the beginning of the video. So really focus on the hook from the start to make people interested and make them curious on what's to come in the video. And then also spending quite a lot of time to fill maybe the first minute with good B-roll, so it's always something new happening to keep people interested, because then I can have less B-roll further into the video, because then they're already hooked and they already watch because of the message, so then it doesn't matter as much with B-roll.
I like that. It's a
So I'm trying
smart
to put
move.
a lot of focus from the start of it.
That's quite cool. I mean, I had Ed Lawrence. Do you know Ed Lawrence from Film Booth?
Mm,
And he is on the show, and his videos are ridiculously good. And he did this thing where he
mm,
was saying though that he swapped. I can't remember how it was. He was saying it was taking him. He was doing like 3 uploads a week originally, and that's how
mm,
they create a channel. And then he said he moved to be out the same amount of time as the 3, but he'd make 1 every 2 weeks. But he was
mm,
like, and the results were better, but he couldn't ramp it up. And so he was like, that's a hard thing to do. But it's
mm,
interesting. It's always an interesting point, because I find myself, I know where I decided to go because I was on the defense. Which one do you go? I can do
mm,
both. I love editing, but I love editing, but I also enjoy creating content. And
mm,
I remember bringing up, so like my background, as you can see all this, I have like the screens and everything moving. I
yeah.
was like, I can create a video live, like record straight to record pretty much.
Mm,
And I played it to someone and said, tell me which one's different. And they were like, well, that one's a bit slicker. But other than that, and I was like, well, one is live because I put like a B-roll on and all that stuff while I'm live. And,
mm,
I was like, well, that one I can do 2 a week and that one I can do 7. So
mm,
I was like, so which
yeah.
one? And they were like, whoa, do 7. They were like, don't
Yeah.
spend, if you do 7 of those, don't spend time doing 2 of those
Mm,
when you've got, because no one would know the difference, and they would know the difference, but they're not going to know it enough. It's just more like
mm,
slight animations moving in, like,
mm,
okay, it might make a difference, but it's a volume game, is what I've decided. But then I looked at
mm,
that, but that's why I looked at your channel and went, wow, that 1 minute tutorial is insane. now, as in like amazing. I was like, oh my gosh. So I think if you are like, you're a freelancer, you're a video editor, you're doing like, it all depends, I think, on what it is you're showing, doesn't it? You know, like if you're trying to show people, look how great I am at making video.
Yeah.
That's really important. I'm a coach and consultant. So my job is to show people, look how much content I can make. I think that's why I think that's something that people have to understand, is that it comes down to what is it you're trying to display, isn't it? If you're trying to show, look how amazing I am at making video, as opposed to what I'm trying to show is, if you know, I'm trying to be, it's Gary V. Gary V's content is terrible quality. And it's that level. It's like, look, you can make this on scale. So I guess there's an argument for that, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it's important to think about like, what's your goals, what's your values, and like, what do you want to stand for with the content that you're creating. Like, I have an example of a video that I uploaded a couple of years back that I think it went up to 140,000 views, but it was before I was really like investing time into my YouTube channel, and it was just a bloopers clip, and I ended up deleting that from the channel because I was thinking, how is this helping me grow the channel the way I want it to grow? And it actually started to grow faster after I deleted that, because it was getting a lot of views, but it didn't get a lot of subscribers because they watched the video and then they checked out my channel and so, but he's doing tutorials. Why should I? There is no other bloopers here, so why should I subscribe? So just like thinking, what do you want to stand for, and then create content around that. And I think that's something that I really try to focus on. So I'm even focusing on like few editing software. So I've done, I think, 51 tutorials in Premiere, 14 in After Effects, and then some in Final Cut. I wanted to do like DaVinci Resolve as well and kind of go into that, but I think I'm gonna stick to these three for a while, just to, you know, don't go too broad.
I think that's a smart move. And it's interesting as well, though, like hearing that, like you're talking about the bloopers and stuff, because I had a shorts channel. Talking about the type of thing. So I had this is where I think, as long as the content is in line, I'll talk about the shorts channel in a minute, because as long as the content is in line and it's the same. And I asked this to my wife. My wife is a big consumer of YouTube. And I don't know about you, sometimes when you're creating, you can miss it. You can see sometimes it's you're too close to it. You know, you're too. My dad always says it's like you're inside the goldfish bowl. Inside the goldfish bowl, it's all warped and weird. When you're outside the goldfish bowl, it's just a bowl of water with a fish in it. And my wife is very much outside the goldfish bowl. And I was, funny enough, talking about goldfish bowls, I was sat in the bath and I was watching a video. Oh my gosh, it was from, I think it might have been a Think Media video, to be fair. And it was like a long form one. No, it wasn't. It was Channel Makers. And I was watching them doing like how to do tutorials with Nate, and how to do thumbnails. Sorry. And I was watching it. I was thinking, I have a Content Marketing Crusaders YouTube channel. I have Ash Borland, which is a daily Content Marketing 101 show channel. And I have a YouTube Shorts channel. And this might be, you know, people watching this or listening to this, and I know there's people watching in live and we're getting comments in, is I was sat in the bath and I came downstairs after the bath, and I said to my wife, I said, I've been thinking. I said, tell me what you think. I said, I have these 3 channels, and I just think it might be a smart move to, and she was like, before you even said anything, she went, you 100% need to put all your stuff into one place. And I was like, oh, and I said, but that, and she was like, I said, that's what I was thinking. And she said, but the problem is, she said, all of these YouTube gurus, and, you know, I know a few of them, they're like, don't mix it. But she was like, but everything you do is about content marketing, everything. She said, so if you're uploading, some days I will upload 6 videos. And I was like, but I don't want to lose my subscribers. She was like, but if you're trying to create a hub for everything content marketing, then you need to be able to go to one place and it's all there. And I think that is the thing. When I look at yours with tutorials, I go to yours, like whenever I look at your stuff, like I'm like, wow, this guy's a tutorial guy. And the vlogs are really cool because I've been watching some of the stuff. They support the story of what you're doing and who you are. But your tutorials are the thing. So I understand why the bloopers, but I think if it's tutorial related, then doubling down on that and putting more like content into that, it definitely works. But what's your take on shorts right now?
I haven't actually tried shorts yet. I'm kind of like split if I want to do that or not. Like I've been doing some. I think you're doing it really well. Like you're still providing value in these short videos, because what I see in a lot of shorts, it's just they post something like funny, and maybe it's entertaining for the moment, but it's not like um, strengthening their brand. But like with the content that you're doing, it's still, like you said, um, it's the same niche, it's the same type of content, even though it's shorter or if it's longer.
I'm banking on shorts being my thing with shorts with that, just because we had
Yeah.
Rob Wilson on the show from vidIQ. My thing with shorts, I'm hoping it could be very, very wrong. I could really miss the boat with this, but my goal is hoping that one day the algorithm is going to go, we're going to be using it for search. I think that's where they'll go. But I don't think it'll be for another couple of months, maybe even a couple of years. So all I'm thinking is like 3 videos a day, happy to get 4 views on them. That's fine. Because when YouTube pulls the trigger on searching this stuff, because people will, hopefully I'll have enough there to go to the top. Because like you said, everyone's just using it like TikTok. But I could be very wrong. So we can come back in a year's time and go, Ash, you absolute failure.
I mean, I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
hope
And it is owned by Google, so it doesn't look very like unrealistic for that to happen. I know you can even search for like chapters now on YouTube. Like if you name a certain part in your video something, and then you go to Google and you search, then you can see the video and you can see like 3 minutes 14 seconds into the video, here they are talking about this. So it's getting very specific. So I wouldn't be surprised if they also do that with shorts.
I think, someone says, I agree. I think that I even heard that Google will do search. Sorry, it will do search that they will find all the SF. Yeah, I think that's right. They get rid of it. And I think it'll be the same. I think it'll be the same. In my opinion, say that's Simply Create is just so that then, in my opinion, of short form vertical content is here to stay. Consumer behavior, it's really interesting. Consumer behavior, we're noticing a shift between like the kind of normal 10-minute, 7 to 10, 15-minute videos, and we're getting to like uber short, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, less than a minute. And then also like this stuff, like there's a big rise in like 40, 50, 1 hour, 1.5 hour interview style live stream. There's a real mixture between extremely long form content and short form. That seems to be where we're going, or consumer behavior is going. So it's interesting with shorts. So David, let's talk about personal branding, because I love personal branding. And I know when you were messaging me, you were like, let's talk about personal branding. So I was like, yes, anyone I can nerd out about. So mate, what is personal branding for you? How do you define it? Why is it so important? Why do people need it? Just the floor is yours to get your take on personal branding in general before we get nerdy in it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think a little bit like we said, like it's the way you want people to know you and what you stand for. Like sharing things on social media doesn't mean that you need to share everything that you do, but like figuring out what are the values that you stand for, what do you want to be known for, how do you want people to see you, and focus on that type of content when you're creating. That's for me is working with a personal brand and growing that.
I think it's incredibly important, and I couldn't agree more with that. So for you, when did personal branding for you? What was the moment when you realized that I need to build a personal brand, like, because because sadly not everyone has, but anyone who's in this space, I know with me, there's that moment where I was like, I need to start doing this, like, I need to start nurturing my brand online and offline with everyone around me. What was that moment for you?
I think it was the moment when I started to film this vlog for this entrepreneur that I started to work for then later, and just consuming Gary's content every day, you realize the importance of personal brand and what you can get out of it. And I saw all the potential with, like, being able to do brand deals in the future, and being able to have a bigger reach and maybe get an income from YouTube via Google AdSense and a lot of different passive income streams, things that you can grow up over time. And I think, like, the word passive income is kind of criticized, I would say, or like people set their own like definition of it. Like they think that you don't have to do anything; it's just something that comes automatically. But for me, it's a lot of hard work. It's even harder, I would say, than like a regular job, because you put in a lot of work up front that you don't see any results from, and then maybe in the future it will start paying back. And like the thing with it, it's just like the workload from the start is very high, but as it goes down, then the results from it also slightly goes up, so you can have like money coming in while you're still not actively working on it. And so that's a little sidetrack on the personal
No, I
branding
agree with
thing.
you though. I
But
agree with you because passive income's a funny one because you're right. I love Pat Flynn's podcast, the Smart Passive Income Show. I love that show, and the intro to that show is something like, putting in the work now so you can reap the rewards later. I really think that's a really, really valid point. And it's this idea that if you put in the work and do what no one else, and I had this on a quote, like, and I said something like, you have to be willing to do what no one else is willing to do, and if you do that, you'll be known as that person, and money will come. Like, so, I think that, like, that's something that, but it is harder than a full-time job, as you said. Like, sometimes if you're employed, that's it. Not sometimes, all the time. If you're employed, it's easier to be an employed person than it is to go out and start building a brand where nobody cares who you are. So
Yeah.
what was that like for you when you started building that personal brand? How have you found that? Has that been what have been some of the struggles you've had? What have been some of the wins you've had, like, when it comes to personal branding? Because it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, and like when you start with it, you don't really know what approach to have, and if you don't have any experience, like I think I had a private account on Instagram, for example, with like 200 followers, and then I thought, oh, this is a waste of time to just use Instagram as a diary for my closest friends. Why isn't it better to use it to like showcase what I'm doing and try to grow my brand over time? Because like a small effort daily can make a huge impact over a longer period. And I think it's like we talked about before, it's like working out. Like you can't see it as a project that you go to the gym for a couple of months and now I'm gonna be in good shape for the rest of my life. Like it's something that you have to maintain over time. And I even like I even think about the values and the things I want to stand for in the content that's not maybe video focused. Like, for example, I share a lot about exercising. When I'm out running, I try to share it to my story. And that's not like to brag that I'm getting up early in the morning and I'm out running. It's more like this is the effort that I'm willing to put in order to reach the results that I want. So it's more the type of person that I am. It's like those values that I want to share. So, and I try to find ways to, get show my personal life, but also get like the video part into it, like the vlog episodes I do. I like to do vlog episodes, but you can have a vlog episode that it's completely irrelevant for a video editor, or you can say, now I'm going to try out this lens today. And then you only focus on that lens in that vlog episode, because then you're also helping someone by showing this is what you can do with the lens and these are the limitations with it. But if we go back to personal branding and the things that I have seen, like some good results from it. Like me, I'm kind of an introvert person, so I'm not the one who's maybe going to events and networking like physically, but I've used social media platforms to connect to a lot of people and get to know a lot of people that who's interested in the same things that I am. And for example, I have a vlog called Project Vayner, where I document my journey towards getting a job at VaynerMedia in New York. So that was a vlog I started 3 years back, and I just because I saw Gary and like everything he stood for and the people working around Gary, and that just inspired me so much. And I thought it's good to have like a high goal to strive for. And I thought working for VaynerMedia, that would be really cool, because then I could live in New York. I could like learn a lot about Gary and all his experience and everything he has, and be around all those creative people and learn from them. So
I love that. I saw that. No.
What I wanted to say with the blog.
No, it's good. I know, because I found that vlog, and I think that's interesting. Like, when people don't realize it's about personal branding is that the way that you what you put out in the world. So you've said so many great things. I just want to kind of nail it down for my listeners here. Is the first thing is you're talking about the vlog, and the vlog being that smart personal branding is taking something that is outside of what you do and bringing it into what you do. So you've nailed so many things down. First one being the vlog and the lens. So you could do a vlog saying, this is what I ate for lunch and this is what I've loved, and you guys who listen to this need to understand. But instead you're using a vlog and telling the things that are relevant to your channel and to what you do and to your brand and to your business, and you're putting your personality around it. I completely also agree with the thing about the running, because I'm a big advocate, and obviously I was and am a personal branding coach. I work with athletes and business people and public figures to coach them through this type of stuff to navigate these things. So it's really interesting when you talk about that. And one of the things I say to people is you need to share your life, but you need to make sure you share it through the lens of X, whatever it is you are. So for me, I'm a content creator, content marketing coach, and personal branding expert. So every single thing that I post has to have some reflection to that. Now, that doesn't mean, which is where you do, doesn't mean that everything I post has to be content marketing. I can go out for a run. I work out at boot camp every single 3 days a week. I meditate every single day. But as long as I put that in my stories to show that and say, I'm meditating here, and say meditating here, looking forward to, meditating so I can have a clear mind for when I go to work, all of a sudden it's on brand. And I think that's what people don't realize with personal branding is that personal brand is taking all of the things in your life and kind of pigeonholing them so they all fit so that I look at you and go, that's David, he's the video guy. That's what we have to do. And he works really hard because he runs all the time. And he's, if he's putting that much effort into his body, he's going to be putting that much effort into his work. And if he's putting that much effort into that's a really cool lens. I saw him. He's obviously doing this outside of work. So he's obviously very, very good. All of these things of personal branding have a massive impact. And you execute it very well. And I think you won't be far away from that Vayner, getting a job in VaynerMedia. But you don't want to do that, mate. That'd be good, but you'll be much further ahead than that. Like your goal should be to go on his show, get on his podcast. He'll get you on.
Yeah,
that would be amazing. But I love that.
Yeah, but I like what you said. Like it also adds personality to what you do. It's not only very like product focused, like this is how you do stuff, but also like this is the man behind who's doing this.
Especially like with the content you create being tutorials. So because you create tutorials, there's a risk with tutorial based content that you can just become a resource and nothing else.
Exactly.
And truthfully, I fell into this trap where I completely get this, is that I was I'm a personal branding coach, but I fell into the trap of going, well, you need to shorten your videos down, you need to get straight to the value and give the audience everything they want straight away because it's a resource for them. And I was like, yeah, it's cool. But the problem with that is you don't gain any subscribers, but you gain lots of views, but you don't build any connection because people don't know who you are. If you're like, here are 3 reasons why personal branding is a problem. Well, here are 3 reasons why content marketing is failing. Or let me show you how to do this on, Premiere Pro without putting your personality into it. I've noticed this without going high. And I know they say you shouldn't do that, but making jokes, that's funny, that happened, and putting this into your content.
Yeah.
You just become a really good tutorial channel. And do you know that what made me think about this? If you're obviously into fitness, have you ever used the 8-minute ab YouTube app? There's the 8-minute abs.
No.
So there's 8-minute abs, and I think it's called, again, this just shows you the channel. It's like Life Fitness and something like, no, it's not Life Fitness. That's the thing. I can't even remember what it's called. 8-minute abs is this thing that everybody here in the UK and the US, massive, is this. It's an 8-minute ab workout, which is like an animated ab workout. And it's been on YouTube for like before life even began. It's like, it's there from day one. And I think on recording this, I'm doing this live, I think it might be at like 100 million views. Like it's a monstrous, and they have multiple ones of it. Someone's just put a comment, so they might even know what this is. Oh no, we got Mr. Camera Junkie here, buddy. So like you, there's this channel, and the joke of it is, me, my friends, everyone I know in the fitness industry would has looked at that thing. They type in 8-minute abs, you'll do it yourself. It's the first video to come up. There's no person behind it, no thinking behind it. I don't know what the channel is called, and I've never subscribed to it because it's a functional thing. Yet, this is what people say, if you're with them every single day, for like 10 years, I watched it every single day. I've never subscribed to the channel, never watched another one of their videos, never. So this is the thing people don't get, I think, is without putting your personality into your content, you're just going to become a commodity and a resource.
Yeah. And that's what I see as a risk also with all these like short form videos. I know some people do it very well, but some people just want to have the reach and the views, but it's not like tied to who they are as a person, and you don't get to know the creator behind it. You just want like something quick to consume. But
absolutely. I mean, I think you're right with that. And I think this short form content, I did this with TikTok. When I first got a TikTok account, I wanted to get to 1,000 so I could do a live stream. And, spend some time on the platform. And I went, and you understand the platform. And I'm like, okay. And I understand content. Algorithms are all the same. They have similar things. And humans act the same. And so I did a video, made it in line with music, and said, I want to go live. I can't wait to go live. I have great ideas. And I did no speaking. I just did text. I have great ideas to go live. I'm currently there. Can I go live? And then I dropped down, and it was like, no, because it's like 6 followers. And I was like, please, can you get me to 1,000? And that video pretty much went viral, and I got to 1,000 in 3 days.
Oh, wow.
But they were not the people. And the thing was, these were just people who wanted to get me to 1,000. They weren't people who are interested in what I do. And so this is the problem with this, is that if we're awarded, I think, and this is, you're very right, if you're awarded with by views don't always mean they're the right people. I never made a penny off of anyone who followed me on that. I never made any money from them. I never got a client, got 1,000 views, 1,000 subscribers, but didn't get anything else from it. So I think we have to be careful with that. But hopefully that will change, as we've discussed already.
Yeah, and this is the problem when people ask other people to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and they do like sub for sub and all those things. What they don't realize is that they grow their channel maybe short term, but if you tell someone to subscribe to your channel who's not interested at all, then what happens is you publish a video and YouTube sees that, okay, out of these 100 people, only 4 of them watched the video, the other 96 wasn't interested, and then you won't get as much reach on your next video. So it's affecting the channel growth, even though it looks like the subscriber amount are bigger, but the channel is actually not growing faster over time. So yeah,
Absolutely.
so important
Absolutely.
patience there, and
so David,
find the right people.
No, so one more question to ask you before we kind of run this down is I want to talk a bit about productivity. We've hit all 3 of the things we said we're going to do. Look at that. We can keep the title the same.
Awesome.
So the reason I want to talk about productivity, you've said productivity, but what I'm interested in with this is you are a content creator. You're not only a content creator by your own, but you are also a content creator by trade, helping other people make content. What I'm a big believer in this, the idea of reducing friction. So I believe this, that you should, and you've said a few things in here where I wanted to talk about it. And I was like, I'm not going to go down productivity yet. You talked about, you understood how to make tutorials. You had things in place. Talk me through, as somebody who makes content for a living, as himself and for other businesses, how important is productivity, and what type of things can you use to speed up your productivity and output as a content creator with video content in mind?
So there's a couple of things I want to mention here, and I think one thing just to start off with is like the difference between being busy and working a lot of hours and being productive. And that's something I had problems with a couple of years back, like especially when you're working for someone else and like doesn't matter how fast you're going to be done with this, you are going to stay here from 8 to 5 every day anyways. So then you just end up like your short tasks end up taking longer than it has to be, just because you have the time anyways. Or like you spend a lot of time on details that doesn't matter. So like something that has really changed for me the last couple of years is just trying to always check in with myself, like what are my priorities, and both like what are my priorities today, but also long term, like what do I want to reach this year, and then from there kind of break that down into smaller tasks, and then make sure to prioritize those in the calendar, and then put all the other things around that, so you don't just look at the calendar and see like, oh, I have a very busy day, and then I start from the start, and then I just go through it without analyzing, is this really the thing that I should prioritize today, or do I only do this because it's urgent but it's not really important? And that's something that I see myself struggle with like almost daily, that I do all these urgent things and these like easy tasks because this only takes me 15 minutes. So I do that first, and then I'm going to jump into this big video project, and then I'm just postponing that. So just like defining for yourself, like what do you really want to reach long term, and then break it down into smaller tasks from there.
I love that. And that's sorry, just quickly to anchor that for 1 point. Me and my wife chat about this a lot. We call them paper shufflers. People who my boss used to say to me, and my wife found it very funny, is you'd go into the busiest office, the most productive office, the one that made the most money. He said you'd walk in and it would be as if nothing is happening. He said everyone was just sat at their desk, quiet, and it was like calm, and it just looked like they were doing nothing. He said, and you would go to the office that was failing, couldn't make any profit. He said, and they were running around and they were so busy and they were too busy for doing everything. And they were just busy. And he said, he used to call it paper shuffling. And he said, there are just people who are moving paper from one desk to the other because they're very, very busy. And he said, it's, as you said, being busy and being productive are 2 very different things. I love that you've said that. And so carry on, but I just had to anchor that point down because it made me laugh in my mind. I was like, my wife, if she won't watch this, she's putting our son to bed, but she'd be like, because it just, she finds it's, whenever she meets people, she's like, yeah, just a bunch of paper shufflers.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of connected to another thing that I was thinking about, like just the importance of saying no to things, like not only for other people but for yourself as well. Even though you have tasks that really interests you and you know that, oh, this would be really good to do, but do you really have to do it? And sometimes what I see with myself is that I schedule too much into my calendar, because I think, yeah, but if I'm done with this at 2, what am I gonna do with the rest of the hours? So then I put something on that time, and then I end up at the end of the day just rescheduling and just moving tasks from one day to another day, and I just spend, a lot of admin work into just rescheduling and moving tasks back and forth. So then it becomes a waste of time. So it's kind of balanced there too.
That's very interesting, because this is a new thing I've done, because I agree with you on that. I have like a quota at the beginning of the week of what I need to do. I have my daily, I call it DDR, daily digital ritual, which is an hour and a half of content creation, hitting all of that's a blog, a podcast, a YouTube channel, like all of that stuff gets done, and it's a tick list. But by then, the reason why I do that is, realistically, if I don't have any clients, that's my work day done. And actually the joke of that is, it only takes me an hour and a half. I mean, a very strong hour and a half. I don't do anything else. And I'm like, but I know people who would take a week to do what I do in an hour and a half. But then what I do is I have my own quota of the week, where like it might be that I want to sign, I might sign one client on a high ticket consulting package. No, like if I sign a client on a high ticket consulting package, silly as it sounds, I will block out the rest of the week. I know that's not bad, but I'll go, okay, like let's not, if I have other things, I'll or if I've got stuff, I'm like, I want to go and spend time with my son, or I'm going to go into, because otherwise you can, don't know about yourself, I can be in this room and kind of just be on a treadmill going round and not actually doing anything, because I'm like, well, I've got to get more. And I'm like, yeah, but I hit what I was supposed to hit. I've done everything I was supposed to do. So stop. I don't know about you, because sometimes that's a better way. That makes me more creative, I find, and productive.
Yeah, and I don't know how much people who watches this know about the Pomodoro technique, but that's something that I've really started to practice, just to break down the tasks into smaller pieces and then take short breaks in between. And it's not only good for like increasing your focus when you're working, but also you can do more things in less time. And during those breaks, I've noticed that it's easier to reflect and realize when you're going too much into detail into something, or when you're spending too much time on something. So it's kind of, you're really focusing down on a task for like, I think it's recommended like 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break, and then 25 minutes, and then every third break it's a little longer break. And I work a bit longer. I think I do like 45 minutes or so, but then like a 10-minute break. But it depends on what type of task it is. But like the main idea behind it is the same, just to break down into smaller tasks and take breaks there where you actually walk away from the computer, maybe get some fresh air, grab a coffee, go to the toilet, whatever, and to just like, you get kind of another perspective to what you're working with.
I find I love that. Again, like all of the stuff you're saying, David, is just echoing everything I believe in and agree. I knew we were going to have a good one. We're just going to run. You're out for time, by the way. I'm just going to run a little bit over, if that's okay, because we're an hour normally. But we hit the hour mark. But you're on a roll, and I would be happy to keep going just a little bit longer. But like I agree with you on that, and I actually find myself, I can get myself, when I get myself into a state of burnout, this is something you talk about, the break setting away. Like sometimes I feel like I've lost all creative energy. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm looking at a screen and it's just looking back at me. What I find from a productivity point of view, which is really interesting if you do this or not, and I've not met other people who do, is I actually go either for a run, usually for a run, but I'll go and I'll put my AirPods in, I'll go for a run. And what I do is I type in a keyword into Apple, and I will find a podcast that I've never listened to before. Never listened to. I don't know who they are. So I might have heard of them, but I try to avoid all big names. I try to avoid any of that. And I just literally, and it's like content marketing or productivity, and I'll type and I'll listen to it. And I'll go for a run for about half an hour. And the reason why is it gives me a completely new perspective on something from someone I've never heard of. And it fires me up. I don't know why. Like I come back in and I'm like, I'm ready to go again. I can do another 20 videos and I'll be fine because there's someone else's, because I don't know about yourself. Sometimes we get caught. I find from a productivity killer for me is like an echo chamber. I'm doing the same thing. Here I am again talking about content marketing again, or here I am again doing another tutorial video. And it's like hearing someone else go. I mean, I find this really helps me. These shows, they fire me up when I meet new people. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that. So I think sometimes, like you said, getting out of your space, going and looking at new things, seeing new things, listening to new things. Not to be like I'm going to be an avid listener. I don't subscribe to their shows. I just listen to one episode and I'm like, you did that in a different way I've never done. And usually I find beginning creators who aren't massive, I'm excited to watch them because the passion is just oozing out of them. Whereas like when I listen to my staples like Christo, The Future and all of those guys, I'm like, this is really cool, but it's not my daily diet. Whereas something new completely shocks the system, kind of revamps my creativity and makes me way more productive. So don't know if that's something that you have ever done.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I actually have a like recurring task in my calendar on Sundays where it says like outdoor activity, non-work related. So it's not like me going out and filming something. It's like, okay, now we're gonna go out in a forest and take a walk, or now we're gonna drive to a city nearby where we haven't gone to before. And just like do something that's not connected to work. That for me gives me like the it sets things into perspective, and you realize like why you're doing what you're doing and what you like about it. And you also get new impressions from the new places that you go to and the new people that you meet. And I think it's a balance there with like you need to have both input and output. I know there's a lot of people who they go from like event to event and they watch these webinars and they read these books and they learn so much, but they don't produce anything. And then you have the other people on the other side who's just creating, but they don't listen to their audience. They don't take in new input from other people. Like, how can I develop? How can I make this better for my audience? They are so focused in what they want to do. So I think it's super important to have that balance of both having the input, but also the output.
If you don't learn, I mean, I use Blinkist, the audio 15-minute audio book where they condense it, and every morning I use Headspace. So I go to a workout, come back, I do Headspace. I then go for a walk with a coffee. I make a coffee and I walk around my village where I live, and I listen to one Blinkist, as in one book, 15 minutes. And I would be lost with that. Like the joke of it is, people say, how do I keep up with content? I'm doing so much content because I'm constantly feeding in information. You will run out if you don't, as you said, if you don't input anything, you will run out. Like, and I have a plan of like 50 videos that I haven't done yet, but I never do them because I usually come off the walk and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to talk about that today. We're going to talk about that. And I'm fired up about it. So I'm like, and those 50 videos, they are there for the days when I'm like, I just need to do something. So I know that. And they're usually search-based videos. They're like easy, how to do this. What are these? The 3 best this. But like if I didn't input education, as you said, the problem is it's that fine balance. I love that you say a fine balance of you have to consume, but you have to create. Otherwise you just become a really well-versed, knowledgeable person that nobody knows. Or if you just create and you don't consume, you become a really good creator that has no idea what they're talking about because you're just talking about the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
It's a really important. That's really, really valid point. That.
Yeah. And
so, David, go on, carry on. You go ahead.
No, I had a point, something I wanted to say when you were talking, but I dropped it. But maybe it will come back to me.
Maybe I'll come back. One thing I want to point out, anyone who's watching this instead of people who are listening to this, if you're listening to this, guys, come and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching this, though, it's nice to have someone else with a fellow clapperboard. I noticed your clapperboard behind you in the corner, and nobody ever has that. And I was like, as soon as you logged on, I was like, yes, there we go. He's got one. I love them. I've had that one since I was like 3-4 years old. My mom bought it for me, and it's the wrong way around. It's like a really rubbish wooden one that's homemade, and it's the wrong way around. But like, I love that yours. I saw it in the background, and my eyes straight away. So thank you. That's amazing for having that.
Yeah, I got it from my girlfriend actually. So shout out to her.
Good. I love it. They're great, and they have. There's a reason why my intro is the animation is the clapperboard is because I've had it since day one. Like my very first YouTube video, my live streams, I used to hold it and I'd go and like smash it at the beginning. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, yes. So David, if people want to connect with you, they want to work with you, they want to learn more about you, where is the best places for them to go?
I would say I'm most active on YouTube and Instagram. If you want to see more of what I'm doing day to day, I would say Instagram stories. On LinkedIn, I publish a lot of, try to publish tips and things that I've done, and it's a lot in Swedish there. So if you're not from Sweden, then maybe it's hard to understand, or you can learn Swedish.
Yeah, you can do that.
Learn something new. And then I mostly just share the links to my tutorials on Twitter, so that's not super interesting, but I have Twitter.
I just do that as well.
Yeah,
that's good. No, that's cool. Your YouTube channel, I'd highly recommend. Just for anyone who is listening to this, check out the YouTube channel, because as someone, especially a lot of people who listen to the show, they're people who potentially have worked with me or considered working with me. They are content creators, and the biggest thing they ask is, how do I edit? And you have so many videos on how to edit videos. Like I said this, like with you, like like I had Marilu Mandel on the show a couple of weeks ago, and hers is all about mobile editing. So like CapCut. So I was like, go to her if you're doing mobile, guys. If you're doing desktop, I really do love your tutorials. So I'd highly recommend people go and check them out.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you,
David. Thank you so much for doing the show, buddy. I've really enjoyed it. I'm going to run the outro out. Me and David are going to hang out a little bit after this, just to catch up a bit. But guys, thank you for the people who turn up to the live show. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, thank you as well. And if you're checking it on the replay, let me know in the comments, #replay. That would be great. See you later. Bye.